Hello, Mr. Rex the Wolf. I am so excited to sit down with you. I haven't. I don't. I want to stress this because one of the biggest things that I remember is that you were for me when I was going through like the scene of kind of events and trying to get it hosted and stuff. Like you are a vital part for me. You have a great support system, and so I'm really grateful that you came, and I'm excited to sit down with you. I know you have a long journey, and I would love to kind of go through that and kind of jump through. But to so many people who don't know, this is the BNE podcast. It's called The Beginning of the Never Ending, right? The beginning of someone's story, their life, right? And the never ending of it, the exploration of people. Um, and yeah, just like where they are, where they're going, like all that good stuff. So we have a painting here. It's a beautiful note, and it's dedicated to this podcast episode. As you can tell, we kind of display it on the wall. We want to create a mural of all the guests that we have who, graces, gives us their time. We also have a few different things that mean a lot to you that we're going to talk throughout the podcast. Your hot sauce is a book, and obviously some of the stuff that you brought from when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, with I guess without further ado, welcome to Mr. Rick. Can we do like a little applause thing that we got going on? Just a little happy applause for Mr. Wolf. Oh, not today. Oh, here we go. There we go. Let's go hand claps for the walls.
I am not a.
So, welcome. And yeah, we're just excited to sit down with you and kind of jump into it. But yeah. So you're okay with just jump right in?
Oh yeah. Where do you want to start?
So I want to start from the beginning. Where are you from? Where is the wolf? Where are you? Are you?
Okay.
Yeah. Where were you born and raised? Where?
Well, let's go with a beginning backstory on that.
Sure, please.
So my mother's flying back from New York.
Okay.
This is 1980. This is February 7th.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So she's flying into San Bernardino International Airport, which is a military base at the time in San Bernardino.
This wasn't. This was. I remember my father took me to this base when I was a kid. I don't remember the name of the base, but it's iconic. It sucks at the Norton. Oh my gosh! Yes, exactly that.
So Norton Air Force Base, as she's flying it, they rush her to the hospital. Supposed to be born at St. Bernardine's, but they couldn't make it that far, which was only like maybe 4 or 5 blocks a little high.
Holy cow!
So she gets rushed into San Bernardino Community General. Now, mind you, that hospital does not exist anymore.
Right, yeah.
It hasn't existed since 1989. 91, I think, was the last outpatient they had for that branch before everything was over to now San Bernardino Hospital now, which is on, what is that, Medical Center. So, but she gets landed, boom, and here I go, and I'm supposed to be birthed. Well, originally I was born a twin. The twin didn't make it.
No,
but there's no record of that either.
Oh wow.
Okay, so we're gonna have some fun here.
All right, let's get it. Okay.
So now I'm being taken out by C-section.
Whoa.
And
okay. I was a C-section baby as well. We tend to be the best.
Very bright things C-section babies do, they say. I wonder. Evil, maybe.
Sure.
But so get brought out, and once they do everything they got to do, clean the baby and whatnot. And back then, they wouldn't bring the baby automatic straight back to the mom after the C-section because the C-section surgery took a week or so to recover. Not like it does now where the woman can have the C-section. She's in and out in 3 days.
Sure.
It was a minimum of a week, and then maybe another week you're going to have to stay in the hospital. But I was born premature. I was born 3.5 weeks early.
Okay.
I was supposed to be born on February 29th of 1980.
Okay.
which is Leap Day.
Okay.
So if I was born on Leap Day, I would technically only be a few years old.
Yeah, right, right. You're probably 14 or 13 or something.
Oh, not even that.
I don't think it's that.
No. Remember, it's every 4 years. I'd only be 10.
Oh my
I'd
gosh.
I'd be 10.1. How would that look?
I don't know, man.
Hi, I'm the oldest 10-year-old to graduate high school. So yeah, so born February 7th. I'm actually on the cutoff date. A few more days later is the end of Generation X. Okay, Generation X does not go all the way through the 80s.
Sure, sure.
And everyone thinks, oh, Generation X is all the way through. No, Generation X ended in February.
Okay.
Mid-February to be exact, around February 12th,
Okay.
February 13th, 1980. Now, the thing about Generation X versus what a millennial is,
Right, right.
is the justification of what we learned and accumulated before music decided to take a nosedive. And people are like, oh, what's a nosedive for music? A nosedive for music is what you call an end of an era. Like R&B is no longer R&B.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay,
Rhythm and blues.
You don't have true rhythm and blues
Yeah.
performing on stage
No.
like we had in the 80s and the 90s. 2005, I'm sorry, you want to call
R. Kelly. I mean, he
R. Kelly's old school, but
He-
you have to understand something. He came from a different era where people still don't understand. In 1980, you had children still posing nude in magazines.
yes.
Okay, and this
Yes.
was
Yes, that's
a
true.
legit thing. But no one really batted an eye about it.
Yeah.
80s was a different era.
It's a different time.
Okay.
I mean, the 70s was like
The 70s was
yeah.
all about love, peace, prosperity. Let's move on.
Right, right,
Freedoms.
right,
80, those freedoms went into full influition.
right.
Like, they say, oh, the LGBT community is blowing up now. I'm sorry, if you lived in the 80s, that was a normal thing to see. Even though people weren't socially accepted about it, it was there right in your face, and no one cared.
I think the interesting thing, especially because you were technically born in the 80s, right? That's kind of like
I lived all but 1 month and 6 days of the 80s.
So you're in the turn of the century. I mean, turn of the decade, right? So you're and this. I mean, are you staying? Because you said she flew in from New York, right?
Mhm.
So did you stay in California? Was this kind of like where you guys just said, "Hey, we're just
No.
okay"?
Believe it or not, okay. Now, here's the funny thing. I'm born here in California.
Right.
My social doesn't read that.
Really
See, my social reads New York.
interesting.
Yeah, so my social security
Is it because she has her address in there?
Because technically, I wasn't born. I was C-sectioned. So I have a dual
Oh.
area. So New York is could be considered a place of birth because that's where my social came from.
Sure.
And California is my birth of residence.
Okay, sure.
So it's like I have both. And as a child, I went back and forth.
Right.
So
That's interesting. Okay, so you always gone back and forth.
Yeah.
What do you what do you kind of at your early ages of like, of life, like, do you remember more of like New York or do you remember more of like California?
I actually remember both pretty well.
Okay.
Younger ages, like from 2, I was already able to talk. I was able to talk at 2. And I mean hold a conversation with an adult.
Okay.
On a level of a teenager would.
Wow.
And by the time I was 6,
Yeah.
I've been in school already for 4 years.
Okay.
So born a genius child, extremely intelligent, extremely bright.
Right.
I couldn't shut up.
Sure.
And the only way my mom could figure out how to shut me up was put me in school.
Right.
So she put my butt in school. What did I do? I excelled and at an exponential rate.
Yeah.
They just said, he's too smart to be in this class.
Mm.
The first thing that I remember about school was nuns.
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 Did you go to like a Catholic school?
Private Christian Catholic school to start off with.
Okay.
Okay. I don't remember the name of it.
Sure.
But I knew where the area where it is, and it was here in San Bernardino.
See, how did you like? How was that experience? Because I grew up in a Christian school, very like I'm talking about pre-K, kindergarten. You know what I mean? And like first, second grade, and it was very interesting because that was back in the days you would do like the Pledge of Allegiance, but I'm obviously 90s when I was born, 93. So you're in the 80s. So what? I mean, you're practicing these same things, but it'll be a little bit different, definitely like kind of religious based.
Well, growing up in the schools, when it came to the Pledge of Allegiance,
Right.
that was not an option. You didn't have an option. You had to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, you
had to stand up. You had to put your hand over your heart, or if you were in Boy Scouts, you would salute. And
so, real quick, do you mind bringing the mic a little bit closer? They're saying that it's a little hard to hear you. All right, go on. Yeah,
there we go. Okay, so basically, you had to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep, yeah.
And you didn't have a choice. You stood up. You didn't kneel. You didn't take a knee. You didn't get down and complain. This is not right. I don't feel. I'm sorry. You're in the United States of America.
Sure. Yeah.
You want to be part of this country.
Sure. Yeah.
One of the things that most people don't understand is being part of the United States of America. When you become a citizen, you are pledging your allegiance to the flag already.
Sure.
It's part of the deal.
Yes, yeah.
When you go to any country and become part of that country, you are pledging allegiance to that country and their flag.
Right.
So if you don't participate in that freedom, how are you trying to say you're being part of that country?
Right. You're right.
And for them to disavow it now makes it less patriotic than it's supposed to be. But it's the point of this is what gives you this entitled freedom by giving the pledge to this flag in your in the country that you want to live in.
Right.
So
was it did you get obviously I mean this is a Catholic school. You praying during this time. Was your family was your mother or family pretty religious? Is that's why you went to a private school?
Pretty much. We grew up in the church and stuff like that. I did my first sermon at 3. My second sermon at 4. My fifth and sixth sermon at 4, 5.
Wow.
Kept going and kept going and kept going.
And where is this at? Where are we talking about here?
It was here in San Bernardino.
San Bernardino.
The Church of Macedonia.
Church of Macedonia.
Okay, it's not there anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
We had several different churches of Macedonia that moved and migrated, and then the church finally got lost and whatnot, and it's just like whatever. But
and so in this time, because you're saying you're kind of going through school, and this is pretty early. Is that when this came to play?
Okay. Well, let me put the coffee down.
Yeah, please.
And this right here is my original kindergarten book from 1986 from Butterfield Elementary.
Do you mind if I just take a page? Right. So this is his kindergarten book, and this is I was like, what? I'm surprised this is still. I mean, you're a good drawer too. You can write, dude. I mean, the letters are dope. It's like you can clearly write here.
Now, mind you, being a genius child and dyslexia, it's a really weird thing.
Sure.
And this is literally May 21st, 1986.
What?
One of my first talent shows.
What?
Certificates. Yeah, I did three blind mice.
Oh my gosh, the Butterfield School talent show as well.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh wow, 86. You were 6 years old at this point too.
Yes, I was 6 years old. Here's the Butterfield talent show booklet. Literally.
What?
Yeah, the booklet with everything in it.
What? Wow, I remember. This is typewriter font. We're talking about like this is
this was all done by typewriters and stuff back in the day.
They had Annie, Three Blind Mice. William Ricks the Second. Is your father in the picture at this time?
No.
Okay. Is this past? Oh, you want to go? Yeah.
Well, this right here was not my first thing that I've ever did.
Sure.
But
This is 6 years old, so we're skipping
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
okay, so let's go right before this. The very first thing I ever did was a stage play of Mary Poppins.
What?
I was 4 years old
Right.
at that point, and I could memorize lines
Okay.
very well. So my mom put me into acting and stuff. We did TV commercials. I was a Michelin baby
What?
on a tire. I did diaper commercials for
That is so
Pampers.
cool. Yeah.
I was on the Baby Hollywood Walk of Fame, which most people don't even know what those are.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, there's a baby book Walk of Fame from Hollywood, and that was all little actors and baby actors whose hands were not put it into a star, but put onto a paper
Okay.
Walk of Fame
Sure.
from Hollywood.
This is like
So-
a magazine, in a way.
No,
No?
it's a book.
Oh.
It's a record book of Hollywood actors.
It's like the Guinness
as a
World
child.
Records kind of thing.
Almost, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So that's what went on with everything, and as it went, we did various commercials, various talent shows, and acting was one of my very favorite fortes
Uh-huh.
to do. We also did drawings, all types of art. I didn't grow up knowing what racism was.
Mm.
Okay,
Sure.
I read about it,
Right.
but I didn't experience it yet.
Okay.
So as we go through, we got pictures of how I used to picture myself. Let's see here. My family.
What? Wait. So how big is your family? Oh my gosh.
Okay, that was my sister, my older sister, which is my older sister only by a couple months. My mom, my dad.
Wait. What? Wait. Explain that.
Okay.
How? Wait,
My father was a Rolling Stone. And wherever he laid his house, he called home.
all right.
Okay, literally just like that. Okay.
All right, man.
Now,
All right.
mind you, my father was in the military.
Okay.
He went to Vietnam,
Mm.
and due to that, he's seen some horrors. So being around his children actually kind of scared him more.
Sure. Yeah.
Because most people don't know is in Vietnam, a lot of male soldiers had to shoot children.
Yeah. Because you didn't know who the
Because
enemy was.
They had bombs strapped to them.
Yep. Yeah.
They had bombs, dynamite, and it didn't even matter if it was an adult, a little kid, even a baby in a diaper crawling had a stick of dynamite strapped to him.
That's brutal.
This is what happens when you invade a country that you shouldn't even be in messing with to start off with.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah.
But let's continue on. So, my favorite thing, apples. I still like apples now. I like apples. My name is William, and I like apples.
That's from the
That's
Mice and
Johnny
Men.
That's Johnny Knoxville.
Is that Mice and Men?
No, that was Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, okay. Got it. Continue.
Yeah. So, okay. This picture of the swimming pool thing. Well, when I was younger, that's one of the first things I did. I jumped in a pool at 2 years old.
You jumped in the pool.
Yes, I jumped in a pool at 2 years old and started swimming in a pool by myself.
Okay.
My mother freaked out, didn't know, and I just come swimming straight over to her like it was nothing. So, I always wanted to drive a car. That's one of the things I said I wanted to do. Drive a truck, own a truck. The only thing I was ever scared of was a shark.
Yeah.
Because sharks are real, and you should only fear real things.
Hey, Adam, do you mind turning just our headset down?
Yeah.
It's okay if you turn it up, but
Yeah.
just our headset down.
I think people were like, you don't have any fears? I'm like, I watched Freddy Krueger movies as a child. I watched Jason Voorhees as a child. I watched the Poltergeist. I did not get scared.
Wait, what?
Yes. The only thing that scared me
You know
was
what?
a
You're
shark.
right, though, because the 80s, though, during the 80s, there's no...
Okay, sensors.
Yes.
Okay, now let's go to that. Okay, we didn't have the sensors like everyone has now. PG-13 movies, they cursed in them badly. PG movies, you might see some boobs, you might see some ass, you might see a private part or two. And that was normal. And I'm not talking about just female parts. You'll see male parts in a PG movie. They're like, name one. You can name a bunch of them, but they're no longer rated PG.
Yeah,
So you're not going to find it unless you find an old VHS or Beta Max tape.
Jeez. There's a ton of oh shoot, I think my mic is off. There's a ton of movies where you're like, oh, maybe not my mic, maybe my headset. There's a ton of movies where, like, when you're let's say you're, how do you say this? These old VHS movies, because this is Blockbuster was still around. I mean, at this.
Oh no, this was way before Blockbuster.
Oh, this is before Blockbuster.
There was no Blockbuster.
Okay, so
You couldn't go to in the 80s you couldn't go to a Blockbuster.
okay.
There was you weren't going to the Hollywood Video or a Blockbuster. No, that was more like the late 80s and 90s Blockbuster. Yeah, no, we had to go on. We would look in our magazines like Jet Magazine,
Right.
Ebony,
Sure.
People, and go to the ads. Oh, buy 5 movies for $27.99 for 3 payments of $27.99. Yes, and I'm telling you, movies were not cheap.
No, they weren't. Yeah,
Okay,
cost a lot too.
Everyone thinks, oh, that $12 DVD or Blu-ray that they're paying right now. Oh, that's expensive. I'm like, when Poltergeist came out, it was like $53 to own a Betamax of Poltergeist. It was $53, and we could rewind it and watch it over
Yep,
and over and over and over, and we were so happy about that. But the price was hell of expensive.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay, so let's get back to
Sure.
when I was a kid.
Sure.
When being a genius child, my mom had to find different outlets to get me going. So we didn't grow up originally poor. We were kind of upper middle class,
Okay.
and money flowed. My mom had a job.
Right.
The base was running, so money came in the 80s,
Right.
and we had a nice life.
Okay.
But they didn't know about after what was going to happen after the war and all that. And the 80s come and recession happens.
Sure. Yeah.
But my mom had got me a computer, and being a child that smart and just wants to keep typing on the computer
Sure.
and keep going, I did something that most children my age would never even know.
Okay.
And I cracked the Gibson. Okay, you might have heard this.
Yes, I've heard of this, but I don't know.
The Gibson was the military computer for the United States. Now, they made a movie about it called Hackers.
Okay.
Okay, and yes, it was cracked, crash and burn, blah, 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 oh, this and that. Oh, you're going to get sued if you say that the movie was made after you. But technically, the movie was in an aspect.
Okay.
Okay. 4 years old, I had a 286 Mac computer, which was a 286 Macintosh. Okay, that was the most futuristic computer we had in the 80s. Now, this is 1984. That computer probably cost around $2.5 grand.
Jeez.
At that time. Okay, that's $2,500 for those that don't know.
That's right.
Okay, in 1980, $2,500 is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
17 years of payment on rent. Rent was only $50-$60, y'all, back then. $50-$60 was rent for an apartment to a house. $125 was the most expensive rent that I had ever seen at that time, and that was a 7-bedroom house. $125, 1980s. Yes, that was rent. So I get the computer, and
This is San Bernardino, so this is logical here because that's crazy.
Hotels were $7 a night, $10 a night, and you got a intercontinental breakfast, coffee, donuts, all that in the morning, all the time.
Yeah.
So, 1984, I'm working on this computer, and I'm just going and typing. And people are like, oh, there were no cyberspace, there was no internet. I said, y'all'd be wrong. The internet came from cyberspace. Cyberspace was the very first open internet in the entire world.
Okay.
Okay. The problem with it was it wasn't set up for the common person just to go on it. If you couldn't afford a computer, you wouldn't know what a cyberspace was.
Sure.
Okay. You wouldn't know how to pull information off of what they called the black web,
Right.
which was later called the net. Then later it became the internet. And they're going to tell you, oh, the internet was born in 1990 something. That's right. The internet was born in the 90s.
Yes.
But cyberspace in the net was 70s and 80s. You can't just build an internet without already having the connections to have that space to put the internet on.
Sure. Right.
So who made that technology?
Yes.
The government had that. And it was only for the rich.
Right.
So I get on it and I start typing, and next thing I know, after a couple hours, I'm seeing welcome to the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And I'm a kid. I'm thinking, oh, this is a fun game. I just end up putting in here. So I'm looking through things and think, well, a few months later, we get a knock on the door. And there's a few FBI agents sitting at the door. And they're like, we want this person that, and my mom's like, I don't even know how to program the VCR. My son is there. Well, we want to see your son. Where's he at? He's right there. And as she points to this 4-year-old kid, they're looking at me like, I'm like, oh, I know you. I can bring you up right now. And I bring it up. And his picture, well, at that point, that's when they said, we need to take this computer away from this kid.
What?
At that point, the reality of this and the causality was they thought I was going to be like 15 to 30.
Sure.
Doing this because that type of technology was only for those that minds were out there.
Right.
Well, being out there, that's where my mind was because my mind never slept. And my mind still doesn't sleep now. I don't get a normal REM cycle like most people do,
sure,
where people can go to sleep and they'll dream.
Right.
Me, I dream for maybe a second and then I'm completely lucid. I can control everything in my dream. I can make everything work for me because my mind hasn't shut down. So it's like when I'm sleeping, my mind's still awake. Well, long story short, the FBI tells my mom, I can't touch a computer for 8 years. So I can't have no computer. I can't have anything like that. So my mom gets me video games. I get the Atari 5000. That thing was awesome. I'm playing Pong. I'm like, Red Racer. Boom, boom. I'm like, yes, this is great. So I'm up all night now playing video games. Now I can't stop gaming. Gaming is a part of life. It's what I do.
Sure.
It's bred into me, and it's bred into my children.
Right.
And it'll probably be bred into their children eventually, too. So, now, so much fun about that. I'm now 12, 13 years old, and I'm seeing this movie, Hackers, coming out.
Wait, and during this, obviously, you get out of the Catholic school, right? And then that's when you go to middle school, or
no? After the Catholic school, I go to Butterfree Elementary.
Okay.
And I had a hard time after May.
Sure.
And that because the teacher would argue with me that, oh, you think you're smarter than me? You think you know the answer? You think you can teach the class? I said yes. I got sent to the principal's office. And my mom has to leave work to come to the school to pick me up.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is not a good thing.
Sure.
And my mom asked me, well, what said? Well, the principal says the teacher said that he said he was smarter than the teacher. I said, I am. The teacher was wrong. The answer was wrong. How was the teacher giving the wrong answer and try to tell me that answer was right? So I showed the principal the answer. The principal's like, yeah, the answer is right. He goes back to the teacher, and the teacher's answer is wrong. How stupid does the teacher look that a 6-year-old child is smarter? Ouch.
Yeah, that's real life.
And, well, back then, they didn't know how to deal with a child being smarter than an adult.
Yeah, you're
So-
completely, you're so far ahead. Your mind is just moving so fast at this point. It's essentially hard for people to I guess the word I would use is just be okay with that in a way. Getting challenged a lot from a lot of different people, it seems, at this time.
Yeah.
Does it get better towards like middle school or high school? Does it ever get better where people kind of like accept you?
Not exactly. But from that lesson, at that point, that's when they said, okay, we want to test them.
Okay.
And they tested me, and they realized that I was already 3 grades ahead of kindergarten already. I was already ready to do 3rd grade work. So now my curriculum wasn't kindergarten work anymore.
Sure.
So May came, I did the play for 3 Blind Mice, and then my work was now 3rd grade work. So I was always giving an assignment that would keep me occupied and not worry about the kids.
Sure.
So when nap time came, I'm sitting over at a desk still doing math and reading and what arithmetic and whatever else.
Sure.
Henceforth, now let's jump to junior high, middle school. Well, junior high, middle school, I had a harder time fitting in because none of them could communicate the way I communicated.
And during this time, you're huge into video games, right?
I'm massively into video games at that point.
No one else in the you can relate with. No one your community.
Okay, in the video game community, we only had 3 type of gamers.
Sure.
We had what we called spam gamers.
Yeah.
Which were a class of generally only Asians.
Okay.
And they were the best gamers on the planet. If you could beat an Asian kid, you were good. And my initials were at the top of every video game and every arcade in the city.
Oh, this is arcade life.
Yes, this is arcade life.
This is kind of like Stranger Things. Like you're talking about all different.
All the arcades said war on the top score. If it didn't, I sat there until I beat that and made it. And I didn't care which arcade game it was, whether it be pinball, whether it be Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, or my favorite, Centipede.
Yeah.
Okay, and Centipede was one of the hardest ones to ever get up to like level 15.
It's an easy game to play, hard game to master.
Believe it or not, once you master like 20-something levels, you just keep going and keep going and keep going.
You just kind of.
And then this newfangled game came out called Tetris, and it had levels that never ended. No one beat me.
Sure.
No one beat me. So, but that's what it was. It was gaming life, and I would go to arcades, win contests, win tournaments. But in that time, let's roll back before junior high, and let's get to the reality of how the 80s really was. It didn't matter what your race was. It didn't matter your financial status. It didn't matter what your father did, what your sister did, who or whatnot. If we liked each other, we liked each other.
Yeah.
We hung out, black, Asian, white, black, orange, blue, marmalade. We can say alien. We all got along. Regardless of what our parents thought of each other.
Sure.
Let the kids be kids. Let the kids play. We played until the street lights came on.
Yeah.
And people were like, man, that's an old man story. I said, just because y'all don't know the fun of spending 12 to 14 hours outside from 5 in the morning to 8, 9 at night sometimes 10 at night, till the street lights came on. And when the street lights came on, all we did is migrate to one house and played in front of that.
Do you feel as if like during this time, right? You mentioned when we first really kind of started, right? You're like, I didn't really understand what race was at this point, right? It just was just people trying to be around other people, and this is why I'm sorry if I keep relating this to Stranger Things, but it feels like around this, it feels like the same kind of concept. You were friends with everyone. There was no right after the war. It seems right.
Yeah.
Everyone just kind of like, look, I'm over this. Like, it's time to be free. It's time to just like just get to kind of bond with some other people, and you're entering the 90s at this point, right? So this is kind of like a very interesting time.
Here's the thing is, California is a true melting pot.
Sure.
Okay? California is like no other state you will ever go to, and I've been to almost every state in the United States.
Sure.
Okay? California is nothing like anywhere you go. California has been years ahead, and some parts far behind, and that far behind was a good thing.
Right.
In the 80s, where everyone was race this, race that, California was not like that.
Sure.
California was kids be kids.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Go out. It's summer. We're all going out to the beach. We're all going down to the pond. We're bike racing. We're BMX racing. We got skateboards. We're playing pop guns. And our pop guns were not caps, okay? They were actual BB guns. We shot crows. We shot birds. We shot field mice. We shot rodents. We shot jackrabbits. These were real things. And, you're going to poke someone's eye out. We did. We actually shot a kid in the eye by accident. And it wasn't like he lost his eye. No, the BB was lucky enough just to braze the eye.
Sure.
But we learned at that point, okay, no one needs to be in front when we're shooting BBs.
It's learning lessons.
Yeah. So we caught June bugs and sold June bugs. We got paid for June bugs and then let them back go the next morning so we can catch June bugs and get ice cream money all the time. We made ways of finding ways to make money.
Yeah.
Cutting lawns, catching bugs off cactus fruit. That way so people would understand life is not that.
There's so much more
fun.
to it.
You're
literally, it seems like you're this is like freedom at its like truest form in a way.
Okay.
And this is, we're talking about just kind of junior high into high school right now?
No, we're not even junior high. This is still elementary.
How is this possible?
Okay.
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 Like, that is crazy.
Let me explain. In the 80s, we knew who the racists were.
Mm.
We knew who the bad people were. We knew not to go around that person. If Mr. Johnson didn't like kids, you don't go to Mr. Johnson's house.
Sure.
If Miss Jackson didn't like that little Hispanic boy, you didn't let that little Hispanic boy go around Miss Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay? When it came down to it, we knew who the bad people were because we were told this. And let me reiterate, if you got in trouble by somebody, they had the right to beat your butt. And I mean, they're going to whoop it. They're going to take their belt off, take their slipper off, take a rod to you, and tan your hide. And then you're going to go walking home, and you're going to get your hide tanned again because you messed up.
It was a community, it seems, during this time.
It wasn't so much that it was just a community. It was everyone knew children were the thing to protect. You protect a child, and then all of a sudden, CPS, Child Protective Services, started making their own laws that no one even voted for. Okay? Like, you can't beat your child because they did something wrong. Hold on. How are you going to try to tell me corporal punishment doesn't fit the bill when that's exactly what we do with adults?
Yep.
If they mess up, we throw them in jail, and I've been to jail. I'm going to tell you right now what happens. Look, if someone messes up, And it's not your fault. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Everyone's going to suffer. Your snacks are going to get ripped through. Your stuff is going to get thrown through. You might get thrown on the floor. You're going to have to do some push-ups, and they don't care if you're disabled. They don't care if you're hurt. You're going to do everything they said because corporal punishment works to punish you because you went to jail.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's what school is. School teaches you how to do things, and if you do it wrong, you get detention. You have to go do this. You have to go do that.
So how is kind of the junior high life here? How is kind of like any friends you can mention, or?
Okay, junior high changed. In junior high, I met a friend named Masa Nakama.
Masa Nakama.
He's deaf.
Whoa.
Okay.
And I just saw you.
Yes.
Okay, so you.
Now, Masa is a really good friend of mine. Okay. Love that brother like he was the same as me. Okay.
Wow.
And when I met him, I wanted to learn sign language just so I can communicate with him. And I learned it. I learned sign language so I can keep communicating with him.
Sure.
And we went through that, and I was able to learn a new skill. That was a skill that I prized. So now I use that in my life.
Sure.
So when someone's deaf that needs assistance, I can translate.
Yeah.
I can help. I know how to ask questions. I know how to give directions. It's just another thing I learned. Well, junior high comes. Now I can get into computers. Here comes the fun. Well, I get into the computer lab and I start playing Number Muncher, and then I start letting my fingers do the walking. Ooh. How did I get into the grading system? Yes! Ding, 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 ding. I got an idea. Who needs some A's and some B's? Yeah, you're flunking, but you know what? If I give you a couple B's, maybe that'll make you actually make some B's. And next thing you know, I'm changing grades. So for about 1 year, and this is 6th to 7th grade, I'm changing grades on the school, and they've never got, and I never got caught for it. Okay, and I'm sure none of my teachers are ever going to hear this. So
why not? Yeah.
I went in there and I started changing grades. Next thing I know, a couple of my friends noticed I'm actually into the grading system. It's like, dude, can I give you some money to up my grades? What are you trying to get? I need a couple B's and I need a couple A's. Why? My dad said I can't go to the beach trip this year if I don't get some A's. I said, okay. Now I'm making $5 an A, $4 a B, $3 a C, $2 a D. I'm like, okay, I'm racking in some money now. Well, guess what? Hacker skills don't leave a person.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, they can go dormant and you learn different things what to do with it. So now I know how to enclose school networks. It won't be the last time I've done that. So, well, junior high, I end up having an exclusive group of friends.
Yeah.
And I mean, my group of friends are so wide of a range.
Sure.
Everyone's like, how can you have those group of friends? And they're like, what do you mean? You hang with one group of friends in school.
Yeah.
You go hang with another group of friends out of school. And before you get to school, you're walking with a different group of friends. And then at lunch, you're by yourself, generally? What's going on with that?
Yeah.
I said, I can have anyone be my friend. All they have to do is just accept it. Hi, I want to be your friend. I want to be that friend that you'll never have to worry about again. I'll be there when you need me, anytime, any day or night. I am Batman. Yeah, so it comes down to it, and it gets so funny. And truthfully, honestly, if I was to say this, I probably have somewhere over a couple 100,000 friends.
Wow.
And a lot of them call me close friends.
Yeah.
And yes, I do know them very intimately and closely, but very few of them know me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the very few that know me inside and out, they can tell you my mannerisms, almost how I think, almost how I want to respond to things. So Masa taught me my first thing on how to sign. That gave me different things to accept people for who they are and try to communicate on their level. So if someone I knew only spoke Spanish, I started learning Spanish. Someone that only spoke French, I learned a couple things in French.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You can't do that." I said, "I can do it in German too." They're like, "No, da, yeah, I can do it in German. What about Dutch? It's a little harder, but it's not too much different from German. Latin. Give me a language, I can attempt to do it. Even Tagalog. And now Tagalog is a language from the Philippines.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. It's a very hard language to learn.
Sure.
And just learning it, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And then I started reading. And I noticed some of the patterns in it. So I can read some Tagalog.
Sure.
And
That's one of the things I noticed is that I can't really I'm learning Korean right now. And I cannot. Speaking it is much harder, but reading it, I can read. It's weird. I don't know I can read it, but I may not know what I'm reading. But I know how to say it in Korean. You know, I imagine if it might be the same effect, and definitely during this.
From years of watching anime. And I mean years of watching anime. And
before anime was cool.
I've been watching anime since the 80s.
I didn't even know that's possible.
Voltron.
Oh, yeah.
Thundercats.
Okay, we're talking about
A Wind Called Amnesia. Now that's an old anime movie. Dragon Ball. Not Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
Dragon Ball, which was 1979 is when it first started. We can go. Oh, there's so many. Akira.
So wait. So my question is that where you came up with the name War? War? You said War was some of the.
War are my initials.
Oh,
Yes.
that makes sense now.
That War are literally my initials.
Okay.
And
So that's all the game thing. I was like,
yeah.
okay, I'm curious.
So now, gaming, all this through that time. Kept gaming, and I just beat games. I would stay up all night and beat games. Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 1. That one right there, me and my friend stayed up for a whole weekend trying to beat this game. And we beat the game in a weekend.
Wow.
Okay, Friday night started 8 o'clock. We started playing the game. We got to Psycho Mantis. That's the hardest part in the game. After that, the game's a cakewalk.
And who's the friend again?
I can't even remember his name.
Okay.
But he's from Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He's a white boy I knew from Hawaii. It's been a long time since I've seen him. If I could remember his name right now, I would.
Yeah, sure. No worries.
But we played Metal Gear Solid all night long for that whole weekend. And we got to Psycho Mantis, and I was like, dude, there's a way we have to beat him. And he kept saying things, and we're like, where's he saying? Where's all these sayings come from? And then we realized everything that's saved on the memory card are the references he's talking about. So we saved the game, woke up the next morning, and said, okay, we got an hour's sleep. We're going to try to beat Psycho Mantis. And then I realized we have to plug the controller into the second port. We beat Psycho Mantis just like that, lickety split. Beat the rest of the game, and it was just like, all we had to do is plug that into port 2. Who made this game?
Yeah, I know, right?
I want to just slap him.
Metal Gear Solid.
And now we have like Metal Gear Solid 6.
Yeah, I think that's another thing. The gaming has been there's no innovation during your time. You're talking about such a lot of a lot of just the whole
yeah.
Macintosh, the Atari, the going to
From
arcades, and
2-bit
playing. You're
from
going
2-bit gaming, 2-bit, 2-bit, 2-bit gaming, which is nothing but a straight
Sure.
like Pac-Man. 2-bit gaming, Pong, to 16 bits, to 32 bits, to TurboGrafx,
yeah.
to Visionary, to Sony. And let me reiterate, I'm sorry for all those that think Xbox is superior. Y'all are tripping. Some Xbox games are superior, yes.
You gotta give Halo.
Some Xbox games are superior, but guess what? They fail in comparison to the original building blocks that made those games.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Siphon Filter is what made Halo what it is today.
That's fair. Sure.
Okay. Siphon Filter is what made Warcraft as great as it is now. Because Siphon Filter.
True?
Yes, because Siphon Filter was the original basis for gun control and walking around.
Really?
Okay.
I didn't know that.
You didn't have it was one of the first 3D set games that the person looked almost realistic.
Yes.
Okay, and you would be like, and you're like right over the back of their shoulders. And you're like, man, this looks like it's a real person walking right here. And you're like,
so you said one more time, what's the
Siphon Filter.
Siphon Filter. Is that the same game that made like GoldenEye and stuff like that?
It's almost the same thing.
That's a little farther, right?
Yeah.
We're talking a little farther out, or okay.
GoldenEye came out after Siphon Filter.
Okay.
But Siphon Filter itself was like what is that one they SOCOM. Siphon Filter was SOCOM. Okay.
Yo.
It was SOCOM. I'm sitting, just walking there, and you'd be able to walk up behind someone, take the knife and slice their throat. They drop. Instant kill. Where was this game? It was there. Rainbow Six, the original Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six original.
Walk right up, slice a person's throat.
You couldn't believe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The blood graphics for Mortal Kombat when you had the
real.
cheat code, when you got the cheat code for Mortal Kombat and you could put it in the blood. But guess what? Mortal Kombat, as great as it was, had nothing on Killer Instinct. Sega came out with a system-wide gaming front that changed the globalization of what gaming was.
Sega did it really.
Sega did it. And when
they fell off, but man.
And when Sega did this, I had to have it. I had to have the Genesis.
How old were you at this time?
12.
12? Okay.
I had to have the Sega Genesis. I had to have the Sega Dreamcast. I had to have the Sega CD. I had to have all the attachments. I had to have the Saturn. Okay? I had to have the Game Gear.
Tell me, you have to have, you mentioned a lot of like your friends and stuff that you're hanging out with. Any family at this time? Any families like going through this experience of life with you?
Family, being the type of kid I was, family was a distance for me.
Okay.
Because I couldn't relate to other children, really.
Okay.
And not relating to other children made it substantially harder on me because I felt I didn't belong. And I still didn't belong. It wasn't until high school that I started finding an acceptance of belongingness. And
so you had a ton of acquaintances almost. Some real good friends.
A
lot of acquaintances.
And being picked on because I was the shortest kid in school, one of the shortest kids in school all the time. Until 5th grade, I didn't even know what 5 foot looked like. Kids in 5th grade were 5 foot.
Yeah.
Here I am, 4'3", 4'4", and I was a small kid. 6th grade is when I hit my first growth spurt, and I became 5'3". I grew up from 5'3" to 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", over the summer from 6th to 7th grade.
Wow.
And at that point, my voice dropped. And I'm going to give y'all what my original voice sounds like. 1 second.
This is a moment to be remembered, guys.
All right. Because it's hard to do this sometimes. Because this is a trained speaking voice. And 7th grade, my voice dropped. And it dropped down to here. Now, you're thinking I'm just naturally dropping my voice. But no, this is comfortable. 100% comfortable in me talking. And I sing in a deep voice. So, and I'll prove it now.
Okay, so wait. So are you talking about you're doing plays? And
Doing plays, doing choir.
well, not until 7th. Wait, so now...
Oh, no. I did plays all the way from the age of 2 and up.
To what point? Like,
college. The last play I did in college was a stage performance play, which
with this voice, like almost this tone,
using this tone.
Yeah, like
voice.
this baritone voice.
I'm a true bass when I sing. I'll prove it.
You got a compressor mic here, so it's gonna pick it up.
So, when I get to college, the last one I did was the Rocky Horror Show on stage. Love that.
That's an intense play right there. Very great.
Yes,
iconic
and
play.
it's a musical.
Yes.
Most people don't know. And there's 2 extra songs because we did the original one.
I never watched the original. Yeah. Okay.
The original play has 2 extra songs that are not in the movie.
Okay.
But long career of theater and acting. A song for y'all I'm going to sing in Swahili.
Okay.
It's called Asikatali.
Asikatali? Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. I better move this way.
Yeah.
Asikatale no masibujwa zizi miselingulo lego. Asikatale no masibujwa zizi miselingulo lego. Uzila motwalo ufuna medoda. Uzila motwalo ufuna medoda. The English version is, it doesn't matter if you should jealous. We are free and kept alive by hope. Our struggle's hard, but victory will restore our land to our hands.
That is awesome. That's a good bass. And I was in choir. So I don't know if I ever told you this. I was in choir in chamber singers. And we don't have very good bass. You were in chambers as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's not very good bass. I'm like a second tenor, maybe someday on a good day.
Okay.
First
Do you know
tenor.
Carol of the Bells?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Oh shit! Wait. Let me pull up a fucking. Wait. Let me pull this shit up. Let me see if I can fucking.
Oh no! I'm gonna start. I'm gonna do the bass line.
No. Let me just figure out if I can. I need to get the lyrics for this shit. Okay. I sang this a shit ton of this because I had to sing it in choir because I had to.
You'll
My choir teacher's gonna go bananas when she sees this. Like it was. Oh my god! What's the tenor part?
It's hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, folk is away. Ding dong dong.
Wait. This one.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we're gonna try this shit, guys.
CK, my part is a whole different set than what yours is.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Because
Look at the
you
wrong
go,
thing.
hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, folk is away. Ding dongy dong, that is a song with careful ring all carefully. Ding dong.
Yes.
Ding dong.
Holy shit. Okay, dude.
Dong.
Yo,
Hark how the bells,
when we do the next podcast, we're gonna swear to God, dude. We're gonna do it. I swear. We're gonna do a BNE After Dark. Hey, stay tuned. That's a glimpse for BNE After Dark. Swear to God, I'm doing this 100%. I'm gonna get that down. I'm gonna send you the score, and if you're okay with that, we can absolutely do this again. And I'm get it tattooed. We're gonna be singing this song. Okay, so music is a big part for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're music in terms of acting and singing in terms of that
Mhm.
play side of things. Well, gaming is a big part of your time as well. Friends are there, but they're not until high school or until you really kind of find your own. Is there any other key things before high school that you would like to go over?
Okay. Well, junior high did choir, and when my voice dropped down to the bass that it did,
Yeah.
I could throw off the whole entire choir with one wrong note.
Mm.
And only a true bass or a true coloratura soprano can do that. Now, mind you, a coloratura soprano is the highest soprano singing the most highest rapid notes. I started off as a coloratura soprano as a child. So, and I went from coloratura soprano to E below E below E.
So you're talking about how do you fall off a cliff?
Okay.
You fell off like sopranos are no joke. Like,
Okay.
like you're
Right.
like up there and you're like fall off a whole climb. You know.
Let's see. Let's see.
So wait. So you're talking
I'm,
about
I'm trying to think what the soprano song was that I used to do. No, it's not. Because Carol of the Bells has a high soprano, but it's not.
No, I can't even hit it.
Yeah,
That shit is hard. No, you. I don't think. I mean, if you fell off that hard, it's hard to go. Yeah, dude, you're hitting alto, but if you could get there, yeah, I might believe, dude. That's crazy.
Okay, I can still literally sing.
That is lit.
Some alto.
That is
like,
crazy. No.
Don't bother me if you left me. You wouldn't be here with me.
You know what we should sing? We should listen, guys. Listen, we're gonna come back for this because we do a BNE After Dark, right? So after we do this one, we love even today if you're not busy, we'll sit down and we get lit, like too lit, and then we come and do random shit. But what's interesting though is that what you just mentioned, and I want to see if we could do Always and Forever. You know how like in the very end? No, save it till today. Save it. We gotta.
Boys to Men was the whole thing that I did during high school.
Boys to Men is a really
Boys to Men, Kool-Aid Harmony. Let's see.
So this is ladies'
Paris
time.
one.
This is like wait, but we skipped over the riots. Like we skipped over like some crazy things in the 90s.
Okay, you want to go to.
LA riots, you're like right down to LA riots.
What the 90s was like. Okay. After the 80s where everyone was together, and seriously, we need to reobsess what we're doing in this time.
Sure,
and
I agree.
Look back at what the 80s gave us, because in the 80s, we actually had more liberties and freedom in the 80s than we do now.
Sure.
And all this trying to name who you are, what you are, that didn't matter. You were just a person. And if we can get back to just being people, that would be just perfectly fine with me.
Yes.
The reason why I say this is the government blinds you by doing this. They use those terms to keep you segregated, to keep you arguing. Guess what? We only had two things to worry about in the 80s. Those that hated us and those that loved us. That was it.
Okay.
You didn't have, those people over there don't think like us, so we can't get along with them.
Sure.
Or they have a weird way of eating chicken. They like putting ketchup instead of barbecue sauce. We can't eat with them.
Sure.
I'm like, you're going to get so upset over the difference of sugar and spaghetti sauce versus salt. Okay, let's get the reality. If you eat Italian food, Italian secret, 99% of spaghetti and marinara sauces have sugar in it naturally in the Italian way you cook.
Okay.
The reason why, it cuts the acidity of the tomato and all the other seasonings and brings down the acidity to give you a flavorful taste in the marinara, in the spaghetti sauce. It does that for a reason because it accents the food. It doesn't give a super sweet taste. You don't put a cup of sugar in, then another cup and another cups.
But things get gentrified, right, over time, right? Things get changed. Things get adopted to, and that's why I'm curious, right? So because I do want to visit this, but I do want to stick to your story because I think your life story is something very special, right? When you're getting up to high school and you're, like I said, you're so small here, right? Um, uh, your just voice drops. You're still doing plays. You're still going out to school.
I did everything.
Like literally everything.
Yeah.
You're going
I
around
did
shooting
everything
cats
to
and
make sure I was not a normie. I didn't want to be normal.
you wanted to be just
I couldn't be normal. Normal was not a thing you wanted to be.
sure.
Growing up in my time, being normal made you like your parents. Okay? You didn't want to be your parents. In the 80s, being your parents was not the ideal thing.
Sure.
You wanted to be better than your parents. Whatever you grew up with, I didn't grow up with a father around me.
Sure.
Okay, guess what? I'm a father. I'm around my kids as much as possible.
Sure. Sure.
I have kids that are 21,
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
I have a couple teenagers now. Guess what? I'm still there. I didn't run out on my children,
Sure. Sure.
and I'm not going to leave my children high and dry.
Sure.
Those that in the 80s that had two parents, their fathers and parents aren't even around. They don't care. They don't want to be around their children. They're like, yeah, whatever. Mine, on the other hand, my family's close like this because my outside family was not. So my kids know I'm there for them as much as I can be. And it doesn't matter me being disabled, broke down. I'm still going to do as much as I can for my kids.
Right.
Grown adult, they can be 80. I'll be 150.
So you're in high school here. How was your relationship with your peers at this point? Like,
Okay.
is it like, are you dating at this time? Is it like
I started dating. I played the field at that time.
Sure. I mean, that's high school. That's the best time.
Several, and I made sure all the girls knew when I was dating them, if I was not on a platonic one-on-one situation, they knew I had multiple girlfriends.
Sure.
But I also had jobs. I was working at that time.
Jeez.
When I went into high school, my freshman year, by the end of my freshman year, I had already had a paid job where I was making $500-600 a month. Now, mind you, $500-600 a month, that was a lot of money in the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay. And there were people that had been working for years not even making that. Okay. I worked for the Educational Enhancement Program. I was a computer teacher. I taught children from the age of 8 through 28 how to do Excel, PowerPoint, run a presentation.
How do you have this time? You have to go to high school, don't you?
I was in high school.
How?
Because the class was after high school. I got out of high school at 2:30 in the afternoon.
What? Oh.
And from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I taught the class.
Game changing. This is, I guess you're right, because this is a time where the computers really this was 90s.
This was the computer age. This was the beginning of the computer age.
Yes, this is the whole Apple.
This was
Microsoft.
This was AOL dial up.
AOL.
Okay,
yeah.
we dial up. Welcome to AOL. You are being signed in.
You got mail.
You've got mail. Would you like to connect? I'm sorry, rerouting connection, buffering. Sorry, you have been disconnected from AOL.
So,
please logging in again.
So you're teaching people all ages. You're talking.
Yes,
about
I'm teaching all ages. Okay, now mind you, I'm 15 years old now.
Yeah.
And this is now going on my second year. My birthday's about to pass, so I'm about to be 16.
Okay.
And well, now I'm getting pulled out of school by my assistant,
okay,
who is 28 years old, and I'm 16. So she's signing me out of school so we can go to the presidential talk
Yeah.
over at what's it, Mount Sac.
My
I believe it was Mount Sac.
Right.
Okay, and this would be 1996. I believe it was either Mount Sac. Yeah, I think it was at Mount Sac.
Wow.
Or Chaffey College, one of the two. But we go and we meet the president, meet the first lady. Chelsea Clinton was there. I'm like,
wait, what?
Yeah.
At Mount Sac?
I think it was Mount Sac.
Oh, okay, that's dope.
Or
Mount Sac is a pretty. I imagine it was a pretty decent college. This is before universities and they got a ton of funding. This is when college was cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
college was pretty cheap then. But meet the president, and when I get signed out of school, which is funny, the principal's like, "Is this your boss?" No, I'm her boss. What? You're 16. How's that? Yes, I signed her paycheck. Along with 6 other teachers because I run the top class.
Sure.
And they're looking at me like, okay. Now, with the Educational Enhancement Program, we did a couple projects. One of them was for Merit Homes.
Okay.
That's here in Ontario, California, Merit Homes. They're an organization that was building homes for less fortunate to build a better community.
Right.
Now, when they interviewed me on the phone, they thought just because we were part of this program that all of us were in our 30s. And I said, I had children working on this, younger than me, and we all did this. And they looked at me, the way your resume looks, you look like you're 40-something on your 40 years old on your paper. We thought you were an old white guy. I said, I'm 16 years old, and this is my resume.
Yeah, William. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, William Ritz.
And they're like, could you come back in like 15 years? Then we can really hire you. I was like, you do realize that the last 2 projects that y'all had us do was done with the youngest being 6? And she did your wall graphs, and they were perfect. A 6-year-old did your wall graphs.
Dude, we have to talk about this.
A 7-year-old did your financial sheet. A 12-year-old did your bracket and graphing and point production for the next 5 years. And a group of 17-year-olds who are older than me did your last boarding assignment, and I had to go and correct their mistakes, so it came out point perfect. And they looked, you mean our projections were done for the last 10 years?
Wow.
By the youngest being 7 and the oldest being 17? Yes. Where are you finding these kids? I said, this is the future of this country.
They do not.
And and they didn't know. Bill Gates, I seen when IBM came up.
Yeah.
And started flourishing with Microsoft. And people were like, oh, this company's not going to go on. I said, Microsoft is going to be bigger than Apple. And they said, Apple's going to be bigger than anything. I said, Microsoft will be bigger than Apple, and you'll never know why. Because Apple's going to need their technology too. 1997, the iMac came out. What? It's an IBM and it's a Macintosh? Yes, 2-partition, and only a handful of those computers exist now.
Yeah, no one has one.
And they said it does not exist. It's not a real thing. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think there's those commercials about that.
Pagers.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
we're going there.
pagers were the thing that wasn't just for drug dealers, just so you know. Kids that had jobs had to have a pager. Because if we got called in and we were in high school and they needed us to fill a shift, that was our way of getting out of school.
Okay.
And we can go work. And the school would excuse us to go work that shift during the day.
Yeah.
And people were like, but we can't do that now. I said, that's because y'all get dumbed down. Come on, y'all got to have labels that say do not eat Tide Pods.
Do not eat Tide Pods.
We knew not to play on the train tracks. We knew not to drink breach. We don't drink breach.
I think that's. I mean, but you experienced a lot of that early, so you learned these things early. But now, with what's going on now, they kind of push these things back. When you're at this age of 15, right? I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm right here on this time.
15,
16. Yeah. You're working. You're going through high school. You're meeting with with some top people working and teaching. You're training. You're a leader for this kind of tech space that you're in as well. You're experiencing life, right? You're dating at this time too. Do you feel like at some point it got too overwhelming? Do you feel like at some point it was just like, yo, this is just too much. I need to take a step back. Or was it always? Did it feel great? Like, how did you feel during this?
Okay,
time?
let's go back all the way back to 2 then.
Okay.
And let's give the example. I had just was about a week and a half before my 3rd birthday.
Okay.
And Halloween had passed
Right.
in October 1982. I dressed up as Michael Jackson because
Get it.
that's what I had a little red zipper jacket, the glove, the black pants, the shoes, the high waters, everything down to it. with the Jerry curl all the way in. And my church said I was idolizing Michael Jackson over Jesus. So before my 3rd birthday, they came in and wiped my whole entire room. Made it completely white, took all my Michael Jackson stuff out.
Whoa.
Because they said I was idolizing Michael Jackson way too much. I started having uncomfortability with myself.
Couldn't express yourself.
At that point, being in an all-white room, it kind of developed a depression. And that depression stuck with me. And it just festered and growed and growed and growed. So now in high school, to combat my depression, I had to keep myself busy. So over the years, the more depression that came on me because the church was saying I was idolizing when I knew I really wasn't. It was
isn't this
thing that pushed into my psyche that no matter what they say, it's not going to be good enough.
Right.
So I have to do better. I have to do better. I have to do better. And I always was told I'm always going to amount to something. Well, I'm 42 years old. I've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
I've been in fashion shows. I've hosted some fashion shows. I've helped this. I've met Vivica A. Fox, Hercules Big Time, Jim Carrey. I've hung with movie stars. I've been with rappers. Like, I've been around Baby Huey. I've met Ghostface Killer. I've met Snoop. I've met several people. And I mean several people. And people are like, oh, you get starstruck. I said, no. I've been working the shows with them, meaning I help run the shows, running the sound systems, doing all this, hooked up their mics, shook their hands, drank with them, talked with them, and people were like, you're lying. I said, just because you don't normally hear someone say that they've done this and they don't care about it, doesn't mean they're lying. It means that they're not starstruck.
Right.
I can give a rat's ass,
right,
honestly, about a famous person, hens or not. If I like them as an actor, like them as an actress, like them as a singer, it's nice to be around. Nice to meet you. Get a picture. I'm good. Perfectly fine with it. Not starstruck.
But you just essentially want to just be yourself.
I danced with Vivica A. Fox. Got to freak on Vivica A. Fox. Okay? Why would I want to lie about that? It's like, come on. I was at Carlos O'Brien's and San Bernardino. The show that was this is something about hair. Okay? And she was the thing. Lighter Shade of Brown performed. Hercules and Big Time was it. That's when I learned they were doing a movie with Jim Carrey called Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yo.
Okay, and this was before the movie was even finished. It was in production. I knew about that. So that just gives you the time frame about that, what that was. That was before the 2000.
So,
It was early.
so what happened after high school? You went to college, right?
I went to college. I went to Valley View Continuation School. I mean Valley College of San Bernardino. I was supposed to go to Cal State San Bernardino. I had all the admissions and everything in. My classes set, and they mailed one thing I was supposed to go to, and I never got it. It was an pre-orientation that I was supposed to go to, and my admission got dropped. I go for my first class, and they're like, "Yeah, it says you have the classes, but you didn't attend this, so you're not enrolled in school." How do I have a class schedule if I'm not enrolled in school?
Yeah, school.
So off to Valley College I go.
Yeah.
Did my thing there. If I ever go back and finish, I'm only like 20, 30 credits from my associates.
It seems as if at this point, you change your focus to something else. What was kind of the focus now?
I changed my focus because in school. Okay, excuse me.
No, you're fine.
Here we go. Well, CPS being one thing like I talked about earlier, can't stand them. This has been a factoring in my life that has
No way.
impacted me in the most negative way. CPS has been constantly after me because people don't know how to mind their own business. Another thing we did in the 80s, mind your business. So CPS constantly haunted me. Kept saying I was a bad father when none of my kids were ever mistreated. None of them were ever hurt.
Wait, when did you have a kid?
I've had my first kid I was 21.
Oh,
So
this is like
CPS followed me for 18 years and would not leave me alone until they felt, oh yeah, we're going to take your kids now. And when they did that, I fought back and kept fighting back. Got the first CPS worker fired because she was in the wrong to start off with. After that, they didn't want to leave me alone because I got one of their own fired. It was a personal vendetta. And they still, from time to time, want to come after me.
So
I was accused of child molestation. I was accused of this, that I made my kids eat off the floor like they were dogs, that I treated them like they were animals, that their living condition was completely unsanitary, like I never took care of them, like I never fed them, bathed them, clothed them, sent them to school, yet the school had no problem with them. Yet the school never said anything about hygiene. Never had any complaints from any of my neighbors about my kids.
Sure.
It was all people hating. And I lost my job. I lost careers. I lost my schooling. That's why I had to quit college, because CPS wouldn't stop. And with that and my depression that I already have, which I now suffer from severe depression,
Sure.
it was just too overwhelming. So it hospitalized me. I've been in the hospital several times from stress and other ailments now. I'm broken down. I'm disabled.
Yeah.
So
you start off and you're like, God, it's like you're a firework, right? Like it's just like
pop, 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 pop,
yo,
pop, pop, pop.
just
Nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
It do you feel like as if like maybe on a decision or something that kind of puts that in that direction that kind of CPS was called? Like,
so
is there something that maybe you can...
Nope. Believe it or not, it was all from hate and greed. Every last call from CPS was about hate and greed.
God.
Because I made ends meet without having. When I
You had to do
came,
what you gotta
okay,
do, right?
when I came to the point of I was raising my kids on my own.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is my first two oldest. I split from their mom, and I took my daughters with me, and I started raising them on my own.
Yeah, was I around this? No, I don't think
No,
so.
this
right?
was
way before my time.
This was
okay,
before.
sorry.
So this is the 90s. This was when you, pretty much when you were being born. You were just being born.
93, yeah.
My daughter was born 91.
Holy shit.
No, not 91. 2001. Sorry.
Okay.
My daughter was born 2001.
Okay.
And So you're now 10 years old at that point.
Yeah.
I had my first CPS case at that point, and that was on my firstborn child, because the CPS worker wants to say, "Oh, this child's not mine." The woman who had the child, her husband before was white. That baby's black.
Way.
How does that white man have such a chocolate baby? Yeah, not your baby, Ruth. Nope, my baby. And so
But
she
you've been
lied.
taking care of her for 10 years. You would think that.
Well, that's it. No, that's the thing is, my firstborn 2001. You would be 10. She's just 1, and now.
Oh, excuse
yeah,
me. Okay,
she's just
I thought
born.
it was
Yeah,
91.
she's just born. So, and so for the first 6 months now, I'm fighting for my child to get my child.
Oh, this
back.
is day one.
This is day one.
Day one, you're starting off like this isn't yours. Like wait.
Because
Hold
the
phone.
worker didn't like it that I came with all the proof of my job, my income, and everything. Okay, most people don't know. In 2001,
This is .com.
phone bills were not cheap.
Yeah.
You didn't have prepaid phones.
No.
You didn't have the $100 plans. No. My phone bill for me doing a show would be $1,000 a month.
What are you? What was your job right now?
I was at that point. I was a promoter. I was promoting bands.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay. I was doing bands. I couldn't get a traditional job because my original traditional job I was working, I had just left it.
Okay. Right.
So I needed to pick up something else. So I had my another job that I picked up, and I was working. And then this one I picked up. I decided I was going to start promoting bands.
Right.
Started doing shows. My first show, I made a couple $100. My next show, I got it down right, and this was my opening show. My opening show, I made $8,000
Damn.
on my first show.
Good job.
That's profit.
Yeah.
No, $8,000 profit.
That's good. That's a good time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's after paying security, after paying the house,
Yeah. You know.
and walking away with $8,000 in my pocket. So my next 6 shows were I already got paid for. I had my next 6 shows in the bag, and I did shows for 3 straight years. Those 3 straight years, I should have been smarter about this, but no. Being a first-time father, you spend a lot of money on your kids.
Yeah. Sure. Fair.
So CPS comes back 1 year later when my next child is born. Here comes the next case. Now I'm losing the job that I had with the city. I lost that. The next thing comes. Oh, you raped a child. No, I didn't. Because of that, I lost my job with the city of San Bernardino, Parks and Recreation. Couldn't go into work because I worked as a park recreation leader.
Wow.
So when you get accused of child molestation, regardless if you did it or not,
Yeah.
and I did not, you can't go to work because if you work around children, they have to be safe. And an assumption makes you a liability.
Yeah.
And that means their children are not safe, even if you're not guilty. And even after you're not guilty, you're still not permitted to go back to work because no one wants that type of stigmatism
Sure.
added on to them. So now I no longer can work normal jobs. So I beat around and try to find work here and there. Lo and behold, I find gigs at different clubs. I become bar managers. I become.
So, can I stop you real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Were you always a part of like the rock scene, metal scene, or any
From
event? What
high
time did you
school.
start
Okay,
going to events?
I started my first rave. I was 12.
Wait, what?
Yeah, my first rave. I was 12.
Okay.
My babysitter took me to a party, and it was called a rave. Okay. We were there from 6 to like 12 midnight.
Okay.
And brought me home because my mom was getting off of work at 1.
Okay.
So she had to get me back at 1. So we went to the party, and that was my first rave.
Sure.
12.
San Bernardino
After
had
that,
a lot of
but it wasn't in San Bernardino at that
Oh,
time. We were living in Sunnymead, which is Moval.
Okay, Myrtleville.
So first rave, did that, and then I liked it. So I started going to parties at 13, 14, 15 years old, sneaking out and never getting caught. Never got caught, not once. Even now, I can't even get in trouble for it. Kudos. I'll teach y'all the trick one day or another. But partying started being the life, and so I started going to house parties, bartending at house parties
Yeah.
at 15, 16 years old, making drinks, and just having fun. 18 years old, I go into the California Conservation Corps. I do that. I start working in the kitchen under the culinary program, start making food. Get kicked out of there because somebody wants to fight me. There was a flood that same day, electrical storm, lightning hit the tree. I had to yell at my friend to run because the tree was about to hit him after the lightning struck. It missed him by about 1.5 inches. He was 6'4". So the tree coming down that fast after the lightning hit, he missed it by about 1.5 inches. I help get everything in, and they tell me I can come back in 3 months with a second chance because I helped just because I was getting picked on and protecting myself. But anyway, leave that. Go back. I'm homeless for a while in Ontario. I sleep at my old alma mater at Chaffey High School. I sleep in the baseball dugout. I'll sleep on the old stairs to the school in front of the auditorium, on the side of the auditorium, anywhere I could find at the time, and then get up before school started.
Is this where like the black sheep kind of mentioned earlier, like you're not clicking with family as much as you would like, or was it just something else?
Well, I had got out. Well, I had got out of foster care at that point. I was foster care from 16 to 18, and when I went to the Conservation Corps and came back, I had to find a way to get into something. And the program wasn't open yet. So once the program opened up 6 months after,
I was wondering, why are you working so early? And it makes all the sense now. You had to kind of support yourself in a way.
well, when I had to prove something to my mom at the age of 14. So from 15 to 16, I moved out for 6 months and found my own place and did my own thing for 6 months. Moved away from my mom, and just to show my mom I could do it. And then I moved back. I had my own room. It was in a church. I lived in that dorm room and did well by myself.
Yeah.
And proved that I could make it on my own. So at 18, being homeless wasn't my first issue at being homeless. Been homeless several times before that as a kid. My first point of racism I seen, I think I was 8. I was in Tustin, which is Orange County.
Yeah.
And we're sitting at a bus stop not too far down from Disneyland. And this group of white guys in this pickup start shooting BBs at us. And they yell, "Nigger," anytime they want. And kept yelling it. And I didn't know what that meant at that time. I'd seen the word, but I had a different understanding of what that meant. And the book I showed you, it has...
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
this book.
I thought
Right here has different.
college.
Yes, okay. This book right here has different meanings for what the word actually meant. The word nigger doesn't mean what people think it means.
Sure.
NGGR is the original term Niger, and it means godlike, close to God. And the Romans changed that because they didn't like that all these Egyptians were stronger than they were, and they couldn't invade Egypt. They couldn't conquer Egypt. Egypt was too strong. So they had to find a way to degrade the black man. And that's what they did. They said, this is the derogatory term. We're going to use it as a slave. And since no one else that had never came to Egypt, never came to Africa, knew about it, this is the term they used. And from there, that was the degrading name. Now, most people don't know the term nigger has not just been ever used for blacks. It was used for the Irish also. It was used for the Scottish. Yeah.
Any slaves, essentially.
If you were a slave class, you were called a nigger. That.
This happens to you. You're trying to, I guess, get some grasp on life, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to process what this is, why they're shooting BBs at us, and now my sister's only 2 years old. She's a baby, so I run in front to protect my baby sister and my brother who's right next to us, and I get hit like with 20, 30 BBs to the back of me, to the front of me, and I'm trying to process this as an 8-year-old kid. Why I'm feeling mad about this. So I start researching hatred, racism, and I find out that it's a derogatory term being used, but that's not what I learned. I learned something completely different. So now I'm conflicted inside, and now I know what racism is. Didn't change me one bit.
Yeah.
I still had white friends. I still had Asian friends. I was hit by a drunk driver at 8 years old. The drunk driver was Chinese. Lied about everything. I was in the hospital for a couple weeks. Scrapes, bruises, abrasion. Came back with a migraine that never disappeared. Having ailments later in life now because of it. Don't hate anyone, Asian people at all. Love Asians. Dated many. So, any women out there, I'm your guy. All right? And, yeah, I have fun with it, okay? One thing, and I have to stress, be like Dave Chappelle, people, okay? Dave Chappelle is married to an Asian woman, if y'all don't know.
Yes.
If he makes an Asian joke, I guarantee his wife is laughing her fucking ass off.
Yeah.
Without a joke. All right? Nothing is too serious. Stop getting offended over a joke, over nothing. Please, y'all. Grow up. You're supposed to be adults. The only thing that's supposed to get butthurt like that is when you have no lube. Thank y'all. But so later in life, I come to the point knowing what racism is several times over.
Sure.
Every time it confronts me, I just look at him and y'all are a sad case. Just get out my face.
Yeah.
I've had to protect myself because of it. I've been in places where it's literally, if you're black, keep on going. You can't stop here. You can't use that bathroom. You can't drink out that fountain. There are places in Texas that are still like that, people.
Sure.
There are places in Arkansas that are still like that. Throughout the United States, there are still little towns that blacks, Mexicans, and those that are not of white or Caucasian race allowed to be. So y'all be careful out there when traveling and try to know your surroundings, because being safe is all about knowing what you're doing. So I've always keep an eye on my surroundings wherever I go.
And so I think one thing I love about rave culture, because I'm a raver as well, and one thing I love about rave culture is that kind of unity, right? Plur, right? You know,
Peace, love, unity, and respect. Plur started in 1996.
You obviously you're a man of many talents, and one of them being is like an activist at this point, I would say.
Yes, I'm a cannabis activist now. So what I do is, if someone needs to be informed on cannabis, learn about cannabis, I'll come to your schools. I'll come to your workplaces, explain to them the difference of how someone works when they're on cannabis versus how someone works when they're not on cannabis, how it can affect behavior, how to know if someone is high, how not to know, how to deal with someone being too high versus not being high enough versus their normal work. There's a thing called a functioning stoner.
Yes.
A functioning stoner is someone who can stay medicated and do their job to 100% accuracy or better.
Yeah.
And they said that's impossible because their thought is compromised. someone like me whose mind does not slow down, cannabis helps me to bring the thought process down to a measurable level where I'm not thinking everything at once. I can focus now on one thing.
Sure.
And one of the things I focus on is my medicated sauces.
Yeah, yeah, and I've one of the things I was talking to, I was doing some research on you. I was checking some people who've tried it. They love it. It's one of those things that you took some time to, and there's a science behind it too. I think that's what makes it really interesting. When did that whole kind of lifestyle kind of change? When did it start? I guess making medicated
Okay, well,
sauces,
7 years ago, I was huge on hot sauce, and I mean huge. The more heat I can get, the better. And I came across a friend because I started getting into the cannabis community and started working with a company called Blacklist. We started doing sessions, and I started off just as the custodian for the place that where actually we met.
Yes, the lodge, I think.
Yeah, the Elks Lodge.
The Elks Lodge.
Okay, and I was starting off as custodian there, and I was just a custodian keeper. So I would stay there some nights and get up all day and all night and clean it from top to bottom. Later on, I went from custodian to assistant manager, bar manager, booking agent, and everything else.
Wow.
And as time went on, I also became part of the Blacklist team.
Wow.
So from that point, I said, someone had given me at one session I went to, they had given me a thing of capsaicin powder. And the powder was a Pacific PX 107, something, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it was extremely hot. And I loved heat. I put this on my elote. I put one straight line on my elote. And that thing was so fire. My mouth was on fire probably for about 20 minutes.
Jeez.
And I was like, I can do this. And I kept wanting to do more and more hot challenges. So the more hot challenges, I kept going. And I said, I want to medicate hot sauce and feel that together. I wonder how that's going to work. So the thought came. I seen someone do distillate in there, seen someone do that, and it worked. And I'm like, I was high for a minute, but it didn't last. And then the bottle, after a while, the capsaicin kept burning off the cannabis oil. I said, I need to find a way to make this stay. So I started experimenting with different types. I started throwing bud leaves up into the hot sauce and soaking it for like a week, see if I got an effect. I got a little bit of a buzz. So I said, let me ferment it more. So I put more and more into it. So I dropped a couple nugs into a bottle and poured the hot sauce in and let it sit there and ferment. And I boiled it. And yeah, I started tasting it. And I started getting, then I thought, what if I take cannabis down to one of its barest forms and try it? So I thought keef.
Whoa.
So I took my port and pestler.
And can you explain what keef is?
Keef is the THC crystals in powder that sit heavy, densely on the nugs,
Nice.
onto the bud, the leaves, the plant, the stem. And it's a bonding powder that not just carries THC, but it carries CBG, CBN, and all forms of the cannabis. This is your pure medicine of the cannabinoids. Now, it's 100% all THC that you're getting out of there. Now, it's not going to be at the dosage of 100% THC, mind you, but all of it's pure THC that you're getting. So you're not going to get nothing out of it. You smoke it, you're going to get blown.
Right.
You ingest it, your body's going to relax.
Right.
And this is where the hot sauce comes into it.
Yeah.
Well, most people don't know that hot sauce is actually a medicine.
Yes.
Okay, the capsaicin.
Wait. So I didn't mean to say this. Wait, explain that.
Hot sauce is the medication. It's the capsaicin oil in hot sauce, which comes from peppers. Even bell peppers have capsaicin. The lowest amount of capsaicin it has. But capsaicin is an oil that produces heat.
Sure.
The heat is, believe it or not, made from sugar. Capsaicin oil is sugar. It's a sugar oil. Peppers are sweet. They might be spicy, but they carry sugar.
Okay.
Now the capsaicin oil churns over with that sugar, and it just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter. That's why if you eat a seed from a jalapeno, you get a kick. You eat a seed from a habanero, and your mouth is burning. You eat a ghost pepper seed, you might as well just pour a whole gallon of milk on you, okay? Because you're not going to put out that fire anytime soon. And don't even try it with a jaja. The reason why they call it a jaja, that's all the sound you're going to make. Okay. But so I started infusing with the keef into it, and it started bonding on a molecular level. Now, science is one of my fortes. I love science in high school and junior high.
Sure.
So I learned things that they don't teach you now in science. When I was in school in science, elementary and junior high, high school, we could build anything out of science. And I mean, you can bring plants from outside and start putting the acids and stuff in. So I thought, this is a powder, this is a liquid with a capsaicin oil that bonds with a powder. I wonder how well it's going to bond. So I take it and go through my process. I go through a warming process, setting process. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it sit for 3 days. And I'm going to see how it goes. Then I'm going to shake it up real well and see if I have a residual. Now, mind you, this one has not been shaken up. Okay. I want you to look at the bottom. Tell me what you see. Do you see any ring or any heavy build up there?
No.
You don't. The reason why? Because it's 100% bonded now with the hot sauce. Give that a full shake, and I want you to see the difference in the shake real quick.
I mean, it's the exact same.
Mm-hmm. Pure.
It's the same exact.
It doesn't change because now it's 100% bonded in. The good thing about it being bonded in is learning to use the capsaicins is how you get different things like habanero ketchup.
Habanero ketchup.
This is medicated habanero ketchup. That right there probably has about 10 milligrams.
What?
Or more.
Golly, this is no joke.
Okay.
All right, let me try it.
You're going to get the kick.
Woo!
Now, me?
That's real life.
Yum.
That's real life.
That right there kicks. Now, mind you, cannabis keeps the capsaicin going up in heat.
Okay.
So the normal heat for most things are going to be slower, but the capsaicin for my medicated hot sauces, barbecue sauce, and all that, the heat goes up. Okay, we're going to go to this one. This one is a Maca Sweet Baby Ray.
Okay.
This one's a habanero medicated barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
Mm-hmm. This is honey habanero.
Yo, you know how you go to like barbecues, right? Right? And you imagine just like not telling anyone. So yeah, we're gonna have some ribs.
Oh, let me tell you about the time I made.
Yeah, this is fire too.
Okay, now let me tell you about the time I made the medicated barbecue ribs. At a sesh, we're in L.A. and we make the barbecue ribs.
Sure.
And
that's very good as well.
Thank you. So we're giving it out.
You can see it on the aftertone where it comes in, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're giving it out, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I'll take a rib or two, right?" And as soon as they get through one rib, the guy is sitting here on the second rib for about 40 minutes. Like, I swear, I think he thought he was eating that. He was eating another rib. He's like, I asked him. I asked him, "Are you going to eat that rib, or did you want to take that to go?" He's like, "I ate 3 ribs, right, Art?" "No, that's just your second." Okay, mind you, because I had to lower the dosage on these because people said they were too powerful.
It's too much sauce. Okay,
my original barbecue sauces in the normal 12-ounce bottle was originally 15,000 milligrams.
15,000.
So, mind you, I put 3 bottles of barbecue sauce on 2 slabs of ribs.
Wow.
Each rib was roughly 2,000, 3,000 milligrams per rib. medicated
You're trying to kill someone.
barbecues.
You can't die, but still, you're trying to kill
We're gonna put you in a coma. We're gonna put you in a coma. So I started doing that, and they literally bought 5 bottles of sauce that day.
Good job, man.
Now, the next time I do taco events and stuff like that, and people bought some sriracha. I make sriracha too, and they bought one, and they're like, "Man, I didn't know I was getting high." I said, "What did you do?" I noticed halfway through that half the bottle was gone. We were having tacos. There was only 3 of us, and I'm like, "Okay, the bottle of sriracha's like that." They finished half that bottle. I said, "What time did you wake up?" 2 days yesterday. 2 days yet from yesterday? No. 2 days ago is when we woke up. When did you have it? We bought it a week ago. So you were asleep for 5 days? Or you don't remember the 5 days? We don't remember the 5 days, but we were high as a kite. I said, well, that's your eternal body. Each person has a different feeling.
It's different.
Like me, I get the calming feeling from it. I can get the high sometime, but the best thing is the sleep after.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to express. The capsaicin builds with the THC and gives your body a good relaxing tone. Once your body fully relaxes, you'll get one of the best night's sleeps of all. And if you eat enough, your next big bowel movement will smell like someone dropped an eighth in your toilet. It's not a joke. Your bathroom will smell straight like bud.
So then, because we're in teaching time, but obviously this goal was to talk about your story. But I think one thing just to enlighten some things, one thing I think about your story is that I've always considered you, and I know we don't interact very often, so I'll be truthful here, but I always consider you like an elder in the space of like events and a lot of things. Like, you have a lot of wisdom, and you come from this time period, right? Especially from San Bernardino and all throughout California, and you know so much. You know a lot about different things. You experienced a lot, and as you mentioned, not a lot of people know your story. Not a lot of people know how much you know. Not a lot of people kind of fully grasp like who you are, what you are, and how you got to where you are now. So my question really, and I want you to please say what you're going to say. My question is there any like final thoughts that you want to leave about like your life, and is there any like things you want people to remember you by? And I know you shared something with me, but I won't share that here. But I just know that there's you're an important figure to me, at least, and so I would like
Okay.
you like to mention.
Okay, so let me explain. I'm going through colon cancer, y'all. So my body is riddled with pain and stress and everything else. I got many health issues at the moment. But when you're born, let's go before that. You're here for a reason. Everybody is here for a reason. Yeah. You are the sperm that made it to the egg. There were thousands, hundreds of thousands of other sperms that could have made and fertilized that egg. But no, you made it because you were the sperm that was designated to be there. And that means you were already someone and somebody way before life even started. And if that sperm making it to the egg meant that it was meant to be, that means you were meant to be born. You were meant to be here. No one should feel they're unwanted. No one should feel that they don't amount to anything. You were here, you made it to that egg, which meant you were supposed to be. And doing that, it's kind of a reiteration of never give up, but you're not a failure. There's no such thing as a failure. You were meant to be before, so making it to life meant you made it. And now living that life, yes, it's your choice. But please, if you feel that you don't want your life, reach out to someone,
Yeah.
because I've gone through hundreds of real bad trials. Plenty of times where I just wanted to end it all.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm 42 years old. I got 4 biological children, 9 stepchildren from various others, and any other one that I claim as my children, I'm there for. And I try to tell everyone, live a life to be comfortable with. Happiness is overrated. I don't live for happiness. I live to be content. Deal with what comes at you, and if you can't deal with it, be like me. I told this colon cancer, I'm sorry, I got 40 years of depression. You got a back burner right now. Take a number. When I get to the 40 years of depression, I'll deal with you later.
Sure.
So live life. Don't expect bad, good, because happiness, yes, it's a little overrated, but knowing that you're going to make it to the next day, there's some satisfaction in that.
You have left a legacy behind. You you don't know this, but when I was doing events at the Elks Lodge, you were like the only person. You and Odie, I'll give Odie his shout outs too. Even Odie he has his times, but you two are the only real support. Especially me being so young and trying to get into the event scene, I imagine you helped a lot of people who don't give their credit, and I think there's some credit that is due, and how much you have helped people kind of get to where they are, and how much you have supported the scene, especially for us local people out here. And I just want to let you know I'm grateful to have met you, and then I'm grateful for just have known you, and you'll never be forgotten in my mind. So but please, if you want to.
Well, there's one thing that I've said. I've gotten some people to be real rich, some people to be famous, and all I asked ever for them was, hey, if I put you there, just thank me.
Yeah.
I don't want no money. I don't even want big recognition. You don't have to get up on a podcast. You don't have to get up on a studio. You don't have to get up at the session and say, that's the person that put me here. No, just come up to me and say, hey, thanks, man. You opened the door to a bigger thing for me and made me a better person.
Yeah.
I challenge everyone before this podcast is over to go out, make a new friend. Hey, stop being in this COVID life where everything scares you. You're never going to grow. The only way you grow is to reach out and help someone else grow with you. You don't see plants growing by themselves. You don't see animals growing by themselves. They always have someone or something there as a building. So why should humans, why should mankind grow on its own? It can't. If you don't have someone to boost you, find someone to boost you. If you can't get boosted, boost someone else. It'll boost you.
Yeah.
Building relationships are the key.
Yeah.
And
it's all about
the biggest key of all, stop hating. Open your hearts. Forget opening your minds. Open your heart to the realization is we don't have to agree on anything. Just respect. That's my thought and that's your thought. Hey, you might not like it. I might not like yours. But guess what? At the same time, let's smoke a blunt. Let's have a drink. Let's party down. And if that's not your cup of tea, we can have a cup of tea. Hey, life's too much fun not to
do it with friends.
Do it by yourself.
Yeah.
But all in all, hey, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. And if that doesn't do it for you, do it. Do it. Do it. You can do it. All right. I think that's about enough time that we have. So with all that, hey, I'm in like sin. Wolf Ricks IG. That's
The
my
wolf.
Instagram.
Yo, hey, before you go, you gotta tell me, how did the wolf? Where did that come from? What
Okay.
is the story behind the wolf?
Well, the story behind the wolf came like this. I became the wolf because I was hungry.
Mm.
Wolves are one of the most loyal creatures in the world, and they go up to a mountain when they think it's their time. And the wolf will go reach to the top, and he'll go up there, spend a couple days. And if the wolf comes back down, he realized it's not his time, and there's more life to live. I've gone up to that mountain 13, 14, 20, maybe 100 times now. And I've come back down that mountain every single time, a little bit wiser, a little bit stronger, a little bit smarter. So when someone told me, "Oh, your boss is known as the fox," I said, "You know what? He might be known as the fox, but I'm as loyal as the wolf. So that's who I'm going to be. Call me Wolf." And it's been my professional name since. I've had it for 20 years. It ain't going nowhere.
How do people find you? Where can people find you?
Wolf Ricks on IG, Instagram. I have Blacklist Gaming Lounge on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Wolf Ricks II. Medicated hot sauce is what you want to find for the hashtags. Medicated hit sauce by Wolf. Dat fire to get you higher. We're going to leave this bottle with y'all here in the studio right here. Yes, this is for y'all. I actually brought this one for y'all. And if y'all want to see it, this is what it is.
Yeah, we're going to take some spots. We'll post it on Instagram as well.
Hey, I ship it. So prices, just DM. You'll know.
Let's get it. Thank you so much, my friend. I'm so glad to have you on. And that is it, my guys. Well, thank you for joining episode 2 now of the BNE podcast. This will be iconic, and we're praying for you. Please fight it, and we want to see you on here again. But for sure, if we can get you on Beanie After Dark as many times as you want, I know we're gonna have stories for days. If you ever have time, please let us know. We would love to sit down and chat.
Welcome to come back, and hopefully, hey, y'all out there, tune in.
Yeah,
there's more to come. It's just getting good.
Get excited. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.